Hey guys, welcome back to Do It Live. I'm sorry, I'm sweaty. New setup, and we'll get to that in a second. But finally, we have some things. Oh god, that almost fell. We have some new things that just came in the mail. Long story, but I'm pretty sure it's Ryzen. So let's get to busting this open and setting it up. The shipping company actually got filtered to the promotions tab in Gmail, if you know what that is, instead of the inbox. And apparently, from today, it's been sitting there for 3 days. My motherboard has been sitting there for 3 days. I want to get this video out for you guys. I want to get this built before I get go to my next treatment, and now I'm rushing this video and I feel bad. But we'll be doing more videos on it, more in depth. But I'll just put together this video. Let's open this up. And we'll get to it a little bit more. So I think I'm going to start with the processor. They really take this up. I got this actually at a discount, surprisingly, since I got it at launch. I pre-ordered it from a store called Shop RBC, which actually is not the bank, not the Royal Bank of Canada, but some computer store called RB Computers, whatever. But they were selling them for $50 off for the pre-order. So I was like, hell yeah, I'm getting a 1700X, $50 off MSRP. So I will do that. So I ended up getting this for $480 Canadian. So just think about 35 bucks off the American pricing. I think it's, $3.99. So maybe I got it for $360, $365 American, so that was really hype. Boom! AMD Ryzen from your grave. Sorry, you guys are gonna get sick of me saying that. But this is the 1700X. I did have a 1700, but I passed it on to a friend who wanted a 1700, and I had the 1700X coming, so I let him mess around with that, and then I got this myself, actually. So I'm pretty hyped. Let me show you right here. AMD Ryzen. Yep. So I got my 1700X right there. Had to get a CPU cooler, but I'll get to the other parts shortly. But here we go. Let's unbox the motherboard. So my choice for the motherboard this time around is a little bit different than what I would have done for like an Intel system. I decided to go with the mainstream motherboards instead of the enthusiast, and I'll explain why. So here we go. So I went with the Asrock AB350 Pro 4, and I'll explain my choice right now. So there's two types of chipsets, as you guys might know. I'll try to go through this really quick. There's the X370 and then the B350. Both can overclock Ryzen processors, and all Ryzen processors are overclockable. The main difference that people are finding are a couple less USB ports on this, and less support for GPUs. Now what I mean by that is that B350 motherboards cannot do SLI. So if you have two Nvidia cards, you can't do SLI on B350s. As you guys know, I don't want to do SLI, and SLI just doesn't scale that well anymore in games, so I'm not going to do that. Sorry, I'll put that there for you guys so you can stare right instead of my face. So I'm not going to SLI on this system. I may do that in a future video where I get an X370 board, but you can still crossfire. You can still do two card crossfire for AMD. So if you wanted to do two RX 480s, which they did do at the press release, you can still do that. Or if you want to do two Vegas in the future, then you can do that. So if I was going to go for an AMD build, I can still do this, and I can still get two AMD cards, or I can just stick with the GTX 1080 that I have prepared for this. So that's why I got this, and it's significantly cheaper in Canada. This is a $120 motherboard. In US it should be about 100 or a little bit less than that, and then the X370 start at 220 Canadian, and then even cheaper in US, obviously, so around 150 or 160. So yeah, you can save yourself at least $70 to even $100 on by getting this motherboard. and put that into a graphics card or maybe more RAM, or you could put it elsewhere, whereas you will still get the full experience of Ryzen. You could still overclock well on these, has the same amount of power phases. Just do your research, look into a B350 board, as you may not use SLI, and you'll be able to use that extra $100 to really power up your rig, so definitely look into that. But as I mentioned, Asrock, voila, oh my god. Bunch of stuff in there. The IO shield came out, you know, your usual manuals and stuff, but the board is right there, and ooh, fancy. So when I go to put the build together, which is very soon, you guys can all in that, and I'll take some nicer pictures of that. So there is the main bulk of our Ryzen system. And of course, you know, so I know the lighting's bad and it's messing here, but I'm going to put together the Ryzen system quick, and I want to show you very quickly the parts that I'm using in this build, and then we'll get to the shots, 3 quick benchmarks just so you can see how my system's running, and then we will go into more detailed videos like I mentioned. So, of course, you know, 1700X Ryzen, bam, right there, that's cool. You have your B350 Pro 4 by Asrock, motherboard right there, great. For the RAM, I'm using the 2800 megahertz LPX Corsair Vengeance. It's the same one that went into the Intel one, but I took those out to put into this rig, and I'm putting these Evo Potenzas in that one, because that one goes up to 3000 megahertz. The Vengeance only goes up to 2800, and as of shooting this video and the current BIOS updates, AMD motherboards and processors won't post past 2667 megahertz. At least that's what people are reporting right now, so might as well use the slower memory for AMD right now since it's already limited. For SSD, I'm using a 850 Evo M.2 SSD because, well, it was cheap. I only got it for 40 bucks, so I thought I might as well use it. And this is going to be my main system for the next half a year to a year, depending on how it goes. And I'll be doing content creating on the Ryzen anyways. Right now at launch, CPU coolers are a little bit of a rarity, so going with the Gammaxx 300, this will tide me over for now. As I'm doing the testing, I'm not going to be doing overclocking yet because I just don't know how good this cooler is for overclocking. But once my adapter comes in for the AM4 slot on my H75 by Corsair, my all-in-one water cooler, then I'll switch it out. Then I can start doing OC, and I'll put that up for you. Again, this is the growing pains of a new socket type, a new type of processor, is that there's not complete compatibility right now, so I'm just making sure I'm compatible until those free adapters come in, and then we can switch to that. Onto the power supply, we have a 650 BQ from EVGA. It's a nice modular power supply, 80 plus bronze. It was only 50 bucks, 60 bucks, something like that. And yeah, that'll handle pretty much everything that I'm throwing at it. And what I'm throwing at it is a GTX 1080 with the Ryzen. That shouldn't take any more than that, so I'll be good there. And I'm using this Dukase case from Deepcool. Deepcool apparently has been making better and affordable cases. This thing looks really great to work in. Looks like the NZXT H440, S440, something like that. But it has a lot of room to work with. It hides the power supply. It looks beautiful. It's white, so it goes with my motherboard. And I think it just overall looks clean. And it was on sale for 70 Canadian. Again, all these things were bought new. This is the first time I'm doing a video for you guys where all the parts are new and bought in store. So let's go to building it, and we'll get to the benchmarks right after that. So, what do you guys think of Ryzen so far? As I mentioned, yeah, sure, you're about 15, maybe 10% away in some games, and you average even less in things that take advantage of more multi-threaded gaming. But you're getting a great value with Ryzen. You're getting 330 US for the 1700, 399 for the 1700X, or cheaper if you got a discount like me. What up? But you're getting really solid multi-threaded performance, which I'll go more in depth in a new video. But this is the way I gotta think about it, or the way I have been thinking about it. Sure, you're gonna game most of the time. If you're getting this sort of stuff, you're probably gonna game most of the time. But on the off chance that you do some streaming, some what's it called, video editing, any of that workload stuff, you're gonna be about 2 times faster, you know, a little bit less, give or take. But would you take 10% performance hit to gain 150 to 200% elsewhere? In my opinion, I would take that because I'm a content creator. You're watching my video right now, so I do video editing. So I would take about a 10% hit in my walk speed to get a 150 to 200% increase in my running speed. Really weird analogy, but I think that's the best way to put it. Is would you walk 10% slower than you do right now, on average, to be able to run 150 to 200% faster? Yo, that's pretty crazy, and that's the way you gotta look at Ryzen, is that it is solely and most specifically for multi-threaded, and it can do some games as well. It could only get better with new BIOS updates, new optimizations, and all that stuff. But as it stands right now, when you purchase it, or at the time of this video, you're gonna lose 10% in games and gain quite a bit elsewhere. So just keep that in mind. I think it's a great purchase. I think it's great that AMD is challenging Intel in the CPU market. It's gonna bring Intel's either prices down or performance up. And for us as gamers, as content creators, as PC makers, it's only good if price comes down or performance goes up. Either way, we win. More options. I love it. I hope you guys love it too. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like and get subscribed, as I'll be doing more Ryzen videos, more testing, and just talking more about the struggles of early adoption of a new system, a new CPU, and all that stuff. Whatever problems I run into, I'll let you guys know maybe every 2 weeks or so. But I'll keep making videos, more PC builds, more reviews, all the stuff you like. Just let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to do it live.